What is up, everyone? I am Bishop Brawler and you are watching the analysis video of the Coney Island Cobalions, coached by Womb Raider. This team is certainly a good team. For the most part, I definitely think in general this team has a lot of power picks, but doesn't have necessarily the best lower tier mons in the world. But we're just gonna go ahead and talk about them. We're gonna start at the absolute top of his draft, which was his Jirachi. Jirachi is a very good Pokemon. The most common set for it is of course the Choice Scarf set with Iron Head, relying on Serene Grace flinches to annoy the hell out of your opponent and just be in general kind of a toxic Pokemon, I think. But it's very good at what it does. It can wall break quite nicely. It can, especially stall breaking, it does it very well. With access to things like Thunder Wave, it can cripple some sweepers. It can fall on a multitude of roles, has Healing Wish, has Wish. It's a very versatile Pokemon. I think in general Jirachi is quite a good pick. Steel Psychic is a nice typing. And I'm really interested in what Womb exactly has planned for this guy, because really, I don't necessarily know what he's gonna do with it. I'm assuming the Scarf Flinch set is gonna be his main set, but he could also be going for a Paraflinch with a more defensive T-Waving set. I'm really interested in it, and I'm looking forward to seeing him use this one. Next up, another very, very good Pokemon is his Clefable. I'm going to Clefable because it's his other tier 1 pick. And as such, those are probably going to be his two main Pokemon. Clefable has that ability Unaware, which essentially stops any setup sweep from happening. It performs a similar role in Womb's team as Ditto does on my own team, in that it prevents some of his lower tier mons, which are relatively passive, or even his Blastoise or his Mega Ampharos, from being setup fodder. Sweep through a Clefable, because it just sits there and stops them completely. It also has the ability Magic Guard, which is really, really nice, as it allows it to freely switch into Stealth Rocks, not take any damage from Life Orb, not take damage from Toxic. It doesn't really care about T-Wave, doesn't care about burns at all. It's in general quite a nice ability as well. You don't necessarily know what this Pokemon is going to do. It can even function as a win condition with Calm Mind. Once again, a very good pickup for Womb, and has amazing type synergy with his Jirachi as well. As Steel and Fairy is in general just a very, very nice combination. And these two are both incredible. Now, in order to complete the Steel Fairy Dragon Core, he picked up two dragons in Salamence, which I'm going to talk about first, and Mega Ampharos. Now, Salamence has two amazing abilities, which I think is where he has an advantage over some of the tier 1 or OU dragons, like Kyurem Black or Dragonite. Intimidate allows him to be a great defensive force, and he has Roost, Defog, and all kinds of fun things, like Dragon Tail, to make use of his relatively high defense because of that ability. He is capable of stopping sweepers dead in their tracks if he needs to, though I don't think that's what he's going to be mainly used for on Womb's team, because I think Clefable does it very well already. What I think Salamence is mainly going to do is function as a powerful wall breaker or win condition in the late game. Its Scarf and Band sets are both very good at plowing through any kinds of team. It mixed Life Orb set, it can also easily break most teams up in a matter of seconds, really. And then you have the Dragon Dance set, which I think he is gonna use it the most. If I just by looking at his team, I think his team lacks a setup sweeper other than Salamence. So that is where I think the Salamence will shine. Being a Dragon Dance sweeper in the late game, it comes in once its checks have been removed and it just wins. If used well, though, because it does have checks. Dragon Dance Salamence doesn't run Fire Blast, so that means he would not really be able to break physically defensive steel types, or, very notably, my Skarmory. Salamence also very much struggles dealing with fairy types, so if a team has a powerful fairy, that could be a serious issue for him. But I definitely think if Salamence is used very well, he can be a very, very powerful win condition. And definitely does fit well on Womb's team, because he has nothing else to really win him the game in the late game. He has no Swords Dance Sweeper, or I guess Tornadoes can run a Nasty Plot set, I believe. I don't even know that for sure. But yeah, I think Salamence is going to be his win condition in most games, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him use that. Now, his other dragon is Mega Ampharos, and I'm not going to lie, I'm personally not a huge fan of Mega Ampharos. I think it's too slow to do what it wants to do. I feel like it has to be doing too many things at once, like more things at once than it can do, in order to be actually useful. Or not useful. It's gonna be useful, just very good. Like, it wants to be bulky, right? It has the defenses to be bulky, and it has access to things like Heal Bell as well to support its team. And Thunder Wave, of course. But it has no reliable recovery, meaning it needs Rest Talk. Thus meaning it's not going to be able to support its team just as well, because what are you going to run if you're running Thunder Wave Rest Talk? You don't have much room. You don't really have. You need an offensive move. Then you don't really have room for Volt Switch, because if you're on Volt Switch, you can never stay in and hit something. I don't know. That's kind of awkward. An offensive set doesn't work too well because it's very, very slow. And yes, it has the bulk to take hits, but it really would rather not. So yeah, I don't really know how he's going to use it. Its mainly use is going to be probably a slow pivot, potentially with like something that I see him doing is Rest Talk with Volt Switch and Dragon Pulse. I think that is its best set, because what it can do, it can come in every time, rest up on something it can rest up on, and just Volt Switch out again, and then you get a lot of free switches, and it's just a general nuisance. But I definitely think it's possible to switch into this thing, and I'm not sure if I like it on his team with Salamence already there. I know he drafted Mega Ampharos because it gave him extra points, and that's why he didn't just go for Manectric. But I don't know if I like it too much. I think I'd rather have seen him draft maybe the actual Manectric or Jolteon in place of his Krookodile that he has here, or maybe somewhere else even. I think he could have figured something out with a fast electric type in some of the lower tiers, and then actually drafted a top tier Mega in this spot. I'm personally not a big fan of it, but if he knows how to use it, it can be very scary. That's absolutely sure. I just don't know if he's going to be able to use it well enough. But I'm not going to underestimate this thing either, because it can be quite a threat if you don't prepare for it enough. Now next up is his Tornadus. Tornadus is a very powerful Pokemon. I have used this before, and what it does is Hurricane. It clicks Hurricane a lot, pretty much. That's the way I see it, at least. I think this Tornadus is an offensive Pokemon, not a utility Pokemon, because he has Clefable, he has Jirachi, he has a Mega Ampharos. I don't think he needed another utility Pokemon. I think this is gonna be an offensive Tornadus. This is gonna be maybe the itemless bulk up variant with using his Defiant hidden ability to sweep teams with an Acrobatics, or maybe he's gonna be the Specs variant with Hurricane, Heat Wave. Maybe he can even be Assault Vest, which is literally the exact same set as Tornadus T always runs with knockoff, U-turn, Hurricane, Heat Wave. And yeah, I think this thing can be quite powerful. Defiant is a very scary ability to play against, because it means that you're very hard pressed to click Defog, because if you do that, he is gonna easily switch into this thing on a Defog and just scare the shit out of any team. Because this thing at +2 is not fun. Let's say that much. It's super scary, a huge threat, and can seriously sweep a team. It has high speed, it has access to Prankster as well, which means it can perform as a good defog preventer, I guess, with Taunt, Prankster Taunt. It doesn't get T-Wave like its brother Thundurus, but it's in general quite a good Pokemon. I'm really looking forward to seeing him use this thing. Of course, the Tailwind is also a viable option on this set, and could be quite useful, letting his Mega Ampharos become quite a bit faster. So maybe that's his plan. I really don't know. We'll see exactly how he uses this. I think so far his team is very versatile in what it can do. But that stops here, because now we're going to talk about his Krookodile. Krookodile is also, once again, has like Salamence that Intimidate ability, also just like Salamence has the Moxie ability. I didn't really talk about the Moxie ability, but on both offensive Salamence and offensive Krookodile, if you get a kill, you might just sweep an entire team. And that is very scary about these two Pokemon. But the thing that I don't really like about this pick is the fact that it has those two abilities, because Salamence has them already. Whatever role he wants Krookodile to fulfill, unless it's a defensive Stealth Rock setter, which could be fulfilled very well by Clefable or Jirachi, can be fulfilled better by Salamence. Or not every single one, but most of them. I don't really like it. if he wants to run Scarf Krookodile, he might as well run Scarf Salamence. If he wants to run Bandit Krookodile, he might as well run Bandit Salamence. Mixed Krookodile isn't even a thing, and Mixed Salamence is. I just think Salamence does what Krookodile does, but better. I'm not a huge fan of this pick, honestly. I think it's a great Pokemon, don't get me wrong. Krookodile's a very scary Pokemon that can put in a lot of work in the right situation. But I think that Salamence will be able to put in that work as well. And I think I would have much preferred seeing a different Pokemon picked up here. Maybe a different Dog type, maybe a different Ground type. Just something that doesn't overlap with Salamence so much. Doesn't mean it's not a good Pokemon, and it also doesn't mean that I'm not going to heavily prepare for this thing. Just means that I'm not too scared of it, because I don't think it's going to be brought when you have Salamence on your team. But it's still an incredible Pokemon, and maybe he just picked it as a way of preventing his opponents from getting it. That could be true, a thing as well. I don't know what he exactly has planned for this. Maybe he has big plans. We'll see what happens exactly. Now, those were all of his tier 2 picks. Now we're going to move on to his tier 3 or RU picks. His Blastoise is the first one I want to talk about. And the only one I want to talk about, actually. Because his other picks are all lower. Blastoise is a Rapid Spinner. And that's what it does. It Rapid Spins. It has a Scald, Rapid Spin, Toxic, Foresight set. That's its most common set. It allows it to Rapid Spin on Ghost, which is huge in some cases. And it's good at what it does. It's very bulky, can definitely take some hits very well. Has the ability to run Mirror Coat, which could seriously catch something off guard. Especially if on an Assault Vest set, and I kind of want to see him do that. Because Mirror Coat works with Assault Vest. Blastoise is very bulky, does its job very well. It has Wish support from Jirachi, Salamence, and Clefable. It has 3 Wish Passers, which is awesome for a defensive Pokemon like Blastoise without recovery. That is really cool. Scald is of course a very powerful tool, especially in the Auras meta, which is what we will be playing. I think Blastoise can be a good Pokemon on his team. I really think it fits. It has a niche in his team in that it is the only. It's his only Rapid Spinner. He has Defoggers, but his Defogger is Salamence. His only other Hazard Remover is Salamence. So I think Blastoise was a very important pickup for him. In order to be able to get his hazards up with something like his Krookodile, or maybe his Clefable, or maybe his Jirachi, and then keep them up because he doesn't have to remove them himself through Defog on Salamence. Plus, it means he can run offensive Salamence more often because Blastoise can remove hazards. I think it's a great pickup. I think this is one of his best picks, honestly, and that's mainly because it really glues his team together very well. And now we move on to his NU picks. First off is Haunter. Now, Haunter functions exactly as Gengar, except baby. It literally does the same thing. It's gonna be Scarf, it's gonna be Life Orb. Even the rare Specs variant could work, but I highly doubt that. And just like Gengar, it still has Levitate, of course. Gengar would currently still have that, but didn't get drafted at all. I like Haunter. It's a fast offensive threat that can seriously plow through some teams, can function as powerful wall breaker or late game cleaner, but it might not be powerful enough. It doesn't have the ability to break through special walls like Blissey at all. It's going to be walled pretty easily by dark types and steel types and the like. I'm not sure if it really has a place in it. Well, it has a place in his team. I'm just not sure how much of a place, because really, if you want a special wall breaker, you're gonna use Tornadus, and if you want a late game cleaner, he's gonna want Salamence. It does have a niche if he has the opportunity to clean with only with a special sweeper, like for example, if I'm just gonna take my team. If he were to run against my team and he decides that he's gonna have an easier time removing Skarmory than he's gonna have, or an easier time removing Blissey than he's gonna have removing Skarmory, then it's going to be easier for him to sweep with Haunter in the late game than it would be with Salamence, so he might bring Scarf Haunter. But I don't really know exactly how this thing will function on this team. I haven't had the most experience with Haunter. In general, I haven't had the most experience in NU, so we'll see what he does with this. I think it has a place on his team. I'm just not sure what exactly that place is and how he uses it. But we'll see that once the match actually starts happening. His other NU pick is Executor. And this is of course not the long neck variant from Alola, because we're playing on Auras. This thing, Grass Psychic type isn't a very good typing because of U-turn being a thing. It's very possible for an opponent to just decide, okay, you know what, I'm going to be playing a momentum team against him because he has a relatively slow, bulky team, so if I can continuously U-turn out on them, that'd be awesome. And Executor does that, is also slow, and not exactly bulky. It has a quad weakness to U-turn. I don't know, man. The only real sets that I see for Executor are the sub-leech seed harvest sets, which I personally not a huge fan of. And then there's the Sunny Day Chlorophyll Solar Beam set, which I think has some potential on this team as once again a late game sweeper. But we're really gonna see. I don't really know what Executor is gonna do on his team. I don't see it doing a lot. He doesn't have the Sunsetter of Ninetales, because I got that. So yeah, we'll really see how exactly he uses this Executor. It's usually a Chlorophyll Sweeper. He might run the Harvest set with a Citrus Berry. I don't really know how exactly he uses this. But it's gonna be it might be a threat. Maybe it's gonna sweep a team. I really don't know. I think a lot of his Pokemon are like, they can sweep a team. If in the right situation, they will sweep a team. But they most likely won't. And very similar to that, actually, that's a nice little bridge to the Girder. Because Girder does that as well. Girder has potential to sweep a team with a bulk up set. But you need to get it those bulk ups. And how in the world are you going to do that? There are quite a few people in this league that are huge fans of Girder. I am not one of those. I don't like Girder at all because of how weak it is to being phased. And in a league, almost everyone is gonna have at least one Pokemon to learn Whirlwind or Roar or Dragon Tail or Circle Throw even if someone decides to draft, which I believe someone drafts a Throw. Yeah, I believe Quack drafts a Throw. But whatever, like he's gonna be phased. And that's for a lot of his Pokemon actually. They're weak to phasing. And I really don't know exactly how he's gonna using Girder, knowing that there is so much that's gonna be happening so often. I mean, for example, I can literally put Whirlwind on Skarmory, switch in Skarmory every single time to this Girder because it cannot hurt it at all, and then I just Whirlwind him out and he's gone again. Even if he has Substitute up, he's gone. That doesn't matter. I'm not a huge fan of this pick. I think it's really easily counterplayed because the only good set it has is that bulk up set. And that doesn't have recovery, so if he keeps setting up substitutes, yeah, that's gonna whittle him down very quickly. Because he's gonna have Eviolites and no leftovers. Yeah, he has Wish Passers, he has the Wish Passers to utilize here with this Girder. I'm not sure exactly how this will work out for him though. But there are plenty of people who really like Girder, and maybe Whom is one of them, and maybe Whom is someone who really knows how to make use of Girder and will be able to sweep teams with him. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And Lapras is actually a Pokemon that I personally am a huge fan of. Water Absorb is an incredible ability to have in this tier. It is also a great counter pick to Suicune, which was drafted, of course, by Quack. I believe it was Quack, or was that Senpai? I don't actually remember, but I know Suicune was drafted. And I think this thing can straight up counter Suicune. It quad resist Ice Beam, it is immune to Scald, it has Freeze Ride to beat it, and it's in general quite a big nuisance to every water type actually. Not just Suicune, but mainly to Suicune, because Suicune is usually mono attacking with that Scald, and he can seriously hard counter it. I know from previous drafts, Mr. Spirit drafted this to counter my Suicune, and I couldn't break it. I had a really hard time dealing with it. And I really want to see how Whom uses this, because if he uses this very well, I think it can definitely put in a lot of work. But I kind of also think that this is another bulky water type that has no extra recovery. It is another Pokemon with Heal Bell, of which he already had plenty. It has a lot of overlap with the rest of his team when it comes to roles, and I'm not sure if I don't think that's a good thing at all. There might be one or two matchups which is better than Blastoise, but I don't really think that's gonna happen a lot. And for that reason, I'm not sure if this was a great pick. But I think Lapras is a good Pokemon, is very bulky, and I think he can make use of it if he uses it well. That Stealth Rock weakness is crippling though, and on a team whose only hazard removal is Blastoise and Salamence, that's not exactly a good thing. So, and that's it for Lapras. We're gonna go into his final pick was Rampardos. Actually, I don't think it was his final pick, but it was his final PU pick, and the final one we'll be talking about today. Rampardos does one thing, and one thing very well, and that is head smashing. Head smash from Rampardos hurts. It is the most glass of glass cannons in Pokemon. It has like no defenses, but it hurts. It hurts. You need to be prepared for this thing, because it's gonna sweep your team if you... it's gonna break your walls down if you're not. But that's it. All it does. It clicks head smash. 100% of the time it's gonna be clicking head smash. And I'm not sure what to think of that. I don't know if he wants to go Choice Bandit. I don't know if he wants to go Choice Scarf. But he's gonna hurt. And that's honestly all I can say about him. That he will hurt. I don't know Rampardos well enough to say anything else about it. But I know it's slow, I know it's frail, and I know it hurts. That's all I can say about Rampardos. Now, about Womb's team in general. I think Womb's team has a lack of one win condition. He doesn't really have some Pokemon that if it comes in at the right moment, it wins. He doesn't at all. I think all of his Pokemon, like Salamence, is the thing that comes closest to that. But if you bring Dragon Dance Salamence every time, it's relatively easy to prep for that. It has a hard time breaking Steel types. Yes, it has EQ, but really just give your Steel type a Sugar Berry and draw it out. Dragon Dance is gone. I don't really know. Womb's team feels like Womb's team is missing something, and I can't really put my finger on it, honestly. Because when I look at his team, I see a lot of Pokemon of which I think, okay, those are good Pokemon, but they're not Pokemon that are gonna beat it, that are gonna sweep every team every time. And I feel like every other team has at least one of those Pokemon where I just feel like, geez, this is a huge threat. This is a threat that every team is gonna have to prepare for very heavily every time. And I think that's what Womb's team is lacking, honestly. His team is definitely not bad, but I think especially in his bottom tier, so the Pokemon from tier 4 and tier 5 are quite lacking in strength and in things they can do, I feel. And I'm really not sure what to think of this team. If Womb picked 12 Pokemon, of which he has a lot of experience with using, which he knows exactly how they work, and he can seriously make them work, I think he has a shot at winning this league. If, however, he picked 12 Pokemon who he thought were strong and filled a role in his team, not necessarily because he has experience in using them, he might be in trouble, because then he doesn't exactly know how much damage they'll do on every hit. And I think that's very important for this team. This is a team that requires a lot of skill to use, and I really want to see Boom do that. But I think that's about it for today. So, next you will be seeing me today for a few more analysis. So for now, I'm out. Peace.